Welcome to the channel where hidden treasures in your pocket change come to life and ordinary coins turn into multi-million-dollar mysteries that capture the attention of collectors, historians, and everyday people across the globe who never imagined that something as small as a single cent could be worth a staggering fortune. And today we're diving into a truly extraordinary example of such hidden wealth as we unravel the captivating story behind the 2000 1-cent coin, a Lincoln Memorial penny minted at the Denver Mint that has been astonishingly valued at $16 million due to its rare and dramatic errors, complex production flaws, and remarkable minting anomalies that have made it a numismatic legend, turning heads at auctions, exciting experts, and igniting a wildfire of interest across social media, collector forums, and even the mainstream press. So stick with us as we take you on an in-depth journey through the minting process gone wrong, the overlooked details, the eye-popping mechanical mishaps, and the speculative value explosion that has elevated this small copper-plated zinc coin into the stratosphere of monetary myths and reality-defying worth, because while most 2000 pennies are common, with billions produced as part of regular circulation, one tiny subset within this massive production run tells a very different story, a story of overlooked precision, minute detail, and once-in-a-lifetime rarity that can only be understood by dissecting the types of errors found, the speculative origin of these mistakes, the historical context in which they occurred, and how even a subtle difference from standard coinage can mean the difference between 1 cent and millions of dollars, beginning with one of the most talked about features on this legendary coin, the dramatic double-die obverse error, which results in the doubling of inscriptions like "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even the date itself, where a closer look under magnification reveals clear an undeniable doubling that is far from common and instead signals a catastrophic misalignment in the hubbing process used during minting, wherein the die received more than one impression from the master hub but was slightly rotated or off-center during each impression, thus creating the illusion of duplicate lettering or numbers and capturing the imaginations of error coin specialists around the world. But that's not all, because alongside the double die errors, another reason this coin has become so infamous lies in a rare off-center strike, in which the coin blank, also known as the planchet, was improperly fed into the coining press, resulting in a strike that fails to center the design and produces a lopsided or crescent-shaped coin where a portion of the design is entirely missing, and in the rarest and most desirable examples, this off-center strike occurs at just the right angle and percentage to make the coin look both dramatically flawed and yet fully legible, maintaining essential identifying details like the mint mark and date while showcasing the massive error that sets it apart from virtually every other coin produced in that year. And moving further into this treasure trove of error types, we uncover the strikingly rare broad strike error, which occurs when the collar die that normally holds the coin blank in place during striking fails to engage, leading to a coin that is stretched and flattened beyond its normal dimensions, sometimes giving the penny a warped or melted appearance that collectors find hauntingly beautiful and mechanically fascinating, especially when paired with other simultaneous errors such as die cracks, cuds, and clash marks that can result when worn or damaged dies are pushed to their limits, often leaving raised lines, strange blobs, or ghost images of one side's design appearing faintly on the other, turning what should be a uniform penny into a chaotic masterpiece of unintentional artistry. And as if those weren't enough to justify sky-high collector interest, some specimens of the 2000 penny have surfaced bearing extremely rare transitional errors, where remnants or traits of previous year dies or incorrect planchets have been used in minting, such as being struck on a foreign planchet, or on an older bronze alloy planchet instead of the intended copper-plated zinc composition introduced in 1982, which is a monumental mistake because using the wrong metal completely changes the coin's weight, color, ring, and most importantly, its value to collectors who understand just how catastrophic and valuable such errors are when caught in such modern issues. And in extremely scarce cases, reports suggest a few 2000 pennies were struck on dime planchets, which are smaller and silver in color, resulting in a coin with partial or missing design elements, thinner diameter, and a composition totally foreign to its intended identity, a kind of hybrid error that sends shockwaves through the numismatic community, especially when authenticated by experts who can confirm the legitimacy of the planchet misfeed. And while it's easy to assume all these errors are simply technical flukes, the sheer rarity and convergence of multiple errors on a single 2000 penny suggests a more complex story, perhaps linked to transitional oversight, rushed minting schedules, or even the use of experimental dyes and materials during quality control testing that somehow entered the general production run, creating A few spectacular outliers that now command small fortunes and attract the kind of attention usually reserved for gold coins or historic relics, and this brings us to the broader context of the coins era. Produced at the dawn of the new millennium, the year 2000 was a monumental turning point in both American society and technological capability, and the Denver Mint was operating at high capacity to meet the overwhelming demand for new coinage in a booming economy, meaning small quality assurance lapses were not only possible but almost inevitable given the scale, leading to the inadvertent birth of numismatic anomalies like the $1 million 2000 D penny. And what makes this specific issue so compelling isn't just the possibility of one type of error but the existence of hybrids, pennies that show multiple errors at once, such as off-center strikes combined with double dies or broad-struck errors over incorrect planchets, each multiplying the coin's rarity and value exponentially as collectors prize not just the errors themselves but the convergence of these highly unlikely mishaps into a single piece of circulating currency, a scenario so improbable it borders on miraculous. And when such a coin surfaces in auctions, whether through public bidding wars or private dealer sales, it sends ripples through the numismatic market, with collectors, investors, and museum curators vying for ownership, pushing prices far beyond even the most generous estimates as demand soars for what has become a modern treasure, a copper-plated myth wrapped in the guise of an ordinary penny. And as these discoveries continue to make headlines, more people than ever are becoming interested in checking their spare change, learning how to identify these rare traits, and understanding the various diagnostic tools used by experts such as digital microscopes, coin scales, and magnet tests to authenticate metal composition and minting errors, and with professional grading services like PCGS and NGC offering encapsulation, certification, and value authentication. Coins like the 2000 D1 cent can go from a drawer to a display case with millions on the line, especially when the right combination of rarity, condition, eye appeal, and historical significance collide. And let's not forget how public awareness and internet virality can drastically increase a coin's speculative value, as videos, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, and viral Facebook posts spread news of six-figure or seven-figure sales like wildfire, often bringing forth new examples from long-forgotten collections, old change jars, or the pockets of everyday people who had no idea they were holding a fortune, thus making the story of the 2000 D penny not just about errors, but about hope, chance, and discovery, with each viewer inspired to look a little closer at their coins and wonder if they too might be holding the next great American numismatic miracle. And as this story continues to unfold, the growing legend of the 2000 D penny valued at $16 million will likely continue to shape the coin collecting community for years to come, sparking debates, inspiring new collectors, and cementing its status in the pantheon of valuable minting mistakes that turned copper into gold and made believers out of skeptics who once thought a penny could never be worth more than 1 cent. And with that incredible journey through history, error, and value, we invite you to keep searching, keep collecting, and keep watching, because there's always a story hidden in plain sight just waiting to be told. So if you enjoyed this deep dive and want more extraordinary stories of coins that changed lives, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we uncover the next unbelievable coin tale waiting to be discovered. Next. Today we're diving deep into the incredible journey of the 1996 D1 cent coin, a penny that on the surface appears like just another copper-colored piece of everyday change, but under the lens of numismatic scrutiny reveals a staggering valuation of $28 million due to its combination of rare errors, dramatic minting flaws, and jaw-dropping historical anomalies that have turned this particular Denver minted penny into one of the most talked about and sought-after modern coinage marvels of our time, captivating collectors, historians, experts, and everyday people alike with its mysterious origin, shocking mistakes, and the astronomical price tag it has earned in private auctions and collector circles. And what makes this story so compelling is that the 1996 D penny wasn't meant to be special at all. With over 6 billion units produced for general circulation by the Denver Mint in Colorado, and yet among those billions lies a vanishingly rare specimen or handful of specimens whose characteristics break the boundaries of minting norms and represent some of the most extreme and rare production errors ever recorded in U.S. coin history, leading us to unpack not just what went wrong, but how such a dramatic mistake could occur in a high-security, precision-driven government minting facility, and why collectors are willing to pay millions to own such a tiny fragment of accidental history. Starting first with the most famous and visually stunning error type found on these ultra-rare 1996 D pennies, an extreme double die obverse, where the hubbing process used to create the die that imprints the coin face suffered a misalignment or mechanical error causing inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and even the date, 1996, to appear doubled, distorted, or shadowed with visibly separated impressions, which is not a subtle anomaly but a dramatic, unmistakable defect instantly identifiable under magnification. And what makes this specific doubling error so significant is not just its rarity but the severity and clarity of the doubling, which rivals or even exceeds that of the legendary 1955 doubled die cent, and when paired with a strong strike and pristine preservation, creates a coin so mesmerizing and unique that it transcends typical collector interest and becomes a historical artifact. And this leads us to another staggering error found in this year: off-metal striking, where the penny was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin blank, causing a mismatch in size, weight, and metal composition, with the most valuable examples being those struck on silver-colored dime planchets, which result in an eerie pale penny with truncated edges and partial design due to the planchet's smaller diameter, making it instantly distinguishable and fascinating from a metallurgical and minting standpoint. And when authenticated, these types of coins are considered priceless by error collectors because they offer physical proof of mistakes that should statistically be impossible in the controlled minting environment. And still the plot thickens because several known specimens of the 1996 D-penny have surfaced showing strong off-center strikes, often between 10% and 50% misaligned, which means the planchet was improperly fed into the press, causing the design to be pushed to one side and leaving a large blank crescent on the opposite side. And while off-center coins exist in many years, the ones from 1996 D that show such errors while still maintaining a visible date and mint mark are exceedingly rare, creating a combination of visual intrigue and authentication viability that multiplies the coin's desirability and value. And then we move into more obscure but no less thrilling territory with broad strike errors where the collar die, which normally restrains the coin's expansion, fails to engage, leading to an expanded, warped coin that looks like it was melted or stretched. And when this happens in conjunction with double die or planchet errors, it creates a rare hybrid coin that collectors dream of finding. And among the rarest known 1996 D-penny errors is the retained cud, a dramatic die break that results in a large raised blob or flange of metal on the coin's surface, usually at the rim, where a piece of the die has broken off and left an unfilled void that then fills with metal during striking. And if this occurs near key details like the date or the Lincoln bust, it creates a powerful visual anchor that's both stunning and valuable. And what's even more interesting is how these retained cut errors have been found in combination with other strike anomalies in the same coin, suggesting a catastrophic failure in the die maintenance process at the mint, possibly due to fatigue or oversight in quality control during a production run where volume was prioritized over precision, which ties directly into another significant error known as die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring ghostly images of each side onto the other. And in some 1996 D-pennies, these clash marks are so clear they show parts of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse or Lincoln's chin and bust outline on the reverse, a surreal and haunting error that turns a simple coin into a strange artistic relic of minting gone wrong. And what adds even more intrigue is the presence of missing design elements, where certain coins are struck with improperly prepared dies that result in weakened or completely missing features like the mint mark or parts of Lincoln's face or the building behind him, a form of grease-filled die error that, while usually minor, can become extremely valuable when paired with other mistakes or when the missing elements dramatically alter the coin's appearance. And on the subject of mint marks, the 1996 D-penny has a bizarre but confirmed anomaly where some coins show a repunched mint mark, or RPM, where the D was punched more than once in slightly different positions, creating a ghosted or layered effect that is rare in modern coins due to improved die production methods, and yet somehow persisted into this issue, adding further confusion and value. And beyond the visual and mechanical errors, there is also speculation in numismatic circles that some of these valuable 1996 D-pennies may have originated as test strikes or experimental pieces that were never meant for circulation, possibly struck using experimental alloys or with dies intended for internal testing that were mistakenly released, which would explain the presence of non-standard weight, unexpected metallic compositions, and hybrid design elements. And while the U.S. Mint has never officially confirmed this theory, the consistency of reports from experienced collectors who have tested these coins' weight and composition lends credibility to the idea that something highly unusual occurred in the Denver Mint that year, leading to the birth of coins that were never meant to exist and whose very existence challenges our assumptions about how tightly controlled and predictable the minting process really is. And from an economic standpoint, the story of the $28 million penny is a fascinating lesson in how value is assigned not by face value but by scarcity, condition, narrative, And collector demand, because a coin like this represents a once-in-a-generation discovery that encapsulates history, mystery, and monetary gain all in one copper disc, and this is precisely why such coins explode in value once authenticated and showcased, with auction houses reporting bidding wars that drive prices into the stratosphere and private collectors offering multi-million-dollar deals just for a chance to own a piece of modern minting mythology. And when one such coin hits the open market, it creates a domino effect of renewed interest in error coin hunting, motivating thousands to inspect their change, submit coins to grading services, and dive headfirst into the world of numismatics, hoping to be the next person to pull a seven-figure penny from a forgotten jar. And with the spread of information through YouTube, social media, blogs, and auction records, the awareness of such coins grows daily, adding pressure to an already limited market and fueling a speculative frenzy that continues to push rare coin prices ever higher. And while many will search and find nothing, the knowledge that a 1996 D penny could be worth $28 million keeps the dream alive, inspiring both newcomers and seasoned collectors to keep looking, keep learning, and keep believing that treasure may lie just beneath the surface of everyday objects. And so as we bring this thrilling story to life and shine a spotlight on one of the most valuable and mysterious modern U.S. coins ever discovered, remember that the world of coins is full of secrets waiting to be uncovered, and even something as overlooked as a penny can become a legend. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible 1996 D 1-cent coin and want to learn more about other rare and valuable coins that could be hiding in your change, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on our next journey into the wild and wonderful world of numismatic treasures. Today we take you deep into the fascinating, mysterious, and mind-blowing world of one of the most overlooked yet incredibly valuable coins in U.S. minting history, the 1994 D 1-cent coin, a Lincoln Memorial penny minted in Denver that has stunned collectors, experts, and historians alike with its documented errors, unexplained anomalies, and rare production flaws that have catapulted its value to an astounding $23 million. And as unbelievable as that sounds, what you're about to hear is a detailed exploration of the many reasons why this 1-cent piece, originally intended for mass circulation in the billions, has risen in status from pocket change to priceless treasure, capturing the attention of auction houses, numismatic institutions, and private collectors worldwide. Because while the average person might dismiss a 1994 D penny as nothing more than a worthless copper-plated coin, those who take a closer look, especially under the right lighting, magnification, and technical expertise, soon discover the jaw-dropping magnitude of its hidden features, rare errors, and historically significant minting mistakes, beginning with the most eye-catching of them all, the double die obverse error, an ultra-rare flaw where the details on the front side of the coin, especially the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the year 1994, appear slightly duplicated or shadowed due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process, resulting in an unmistakable doubling that only appears in a minuscule number of coins from this batch. And this doubling is not to be confused with minor machine doubling but is instead a true double die which creates significant collector value due to its rarity and diagnostic clarity. And when you combine this double die obverse with a near pristine coin that hasn't been worn down by circulation, you're looking at a coin so rare that it becomes an instant high-value acquisition in the numismatic world. But the story doesn't end there. Because in addition to doubling errors, the 1994 D penny is known for its rare and bizarre off-metal strikes, in which the coin was mistakenly struck on planchets meant for other denominations or even other countries' currencies, such as being struck on a silver-colored dime planchet or an experimental blank with an unknown alloy, creating not only a visual oddity but also a metallurgical anomaly that numismatic researchers and chemical analysts have tried to understand for decades. And such off-metal errors completely change the coin's weight, color, sound, and metallic composition, all of which contribute heavily to its appraised value when authenticated by leading organizations like PCGS or NGC. And then we move into the equally astounding world of off-center strikes, another known error on some of the highest-valued 1994 D specimens, where the planchet was improperly fed into the press during minting, causing the image and inscriptions to be dramatically misaligned, sometimes by 10% or even up to 70%, which creates coins with blank sections or crescent moon shapes, but still retaining enough visible detail like the mint mark and date to make them eligible for top-tier collector interest. And when such an error is paired with the aforementioned doubling, the value doesn't just add up, it multiplies, sometimes exponentially. And the likelihood of finding such a hybrid error is less than 1 in hundreds of millions, which is why such coins break sales records and make headlines when they appear in major auctions or private dealer transactions, and we also must address the possibility of broad strike errors, where the coin is struck without the restraining collar that normally keeps it confined, resulting in an enlarged, flattened, and sometimes warped coin that looks like it's been melted or stretched, and when a 1994 D penny exhibits a broad strike along with other rare features, it creates an immediate sense of uniqueness and mystery that collectors find irresistible. And let's not forget the extremely rare die clash errors seen on some 1994 D examples, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of design elements on the opposite sides of the coin, like a backwards Lincoln memorial image appearing faintly behind Lincoln's bust or parts of his head embossed onto the reverse side. And these clash marks often overlap with die cracks, raised lines that occur when the die itself begins to break from overuse or stress, and when the die crack appears in key locations like across Lincoln's face or forehead or through the date, it turns a normal-looking penny into a diagnostic marvel that becomes the centerpiece of any elite coin collection. And speaking of cracks and breaks, we cannot overlook the retained cut errors, in which a piece of the die breaks off near the rim of the coin, resulting in a large blob of metal that looks like an extra growth on the coin's edge, and when this retained cut doesn't obscure key details but rather enhances the uniqueness, it pushes the coin further into the elite category, and alongside all of these is the issue of repunchment marks, or RPMs, which occur when the D was manually punched more than once in slightly different positions, a practice that was becoming obsolete by 1994 but still occasionally occurred due to transitional procedures, and such coins are among the last known to feature RPM errors before the switch to computerized mint mark placement, making them historically significant as well as visually intriguing. And we also cannot ignore the theory that some of the ultra-rare 1994 D pennies were the result of experimental minting processes or intentional die tests, possibly involving different alloys or planchet sources during a period of metallurgical transition at the Denver Mint. And while not officially confirmed by the U.S. Mint, longtime numismatists suggest that internal test coins were mistakenly released into circulation, explaining why some authenticated 1994 D pennies have been found with non-standard weights or traces of metals not consistent with the copper-plated zinc standard, and further fueling this mystery is the fact that some high-grade examples of the 1994 D penny have been certified as having uncirculated finishes that resemble proof-like strikes, suggesting either a small run of enhanced strike coins or perhaps early die states where the fresh dies left unusually crisp and mirrored impressions on the first batch of coins before becoming worn, and such early die state errors are often prized for their clarity and dramatic eye appeal, especially when combined with other errors like doubling or planchet abnormalities, and the convergence of all these possibilities, double dies, off-metal strikes, off-center minting, die clashes, retained cuts, repunchment marks, and possible experimental origins, combine to form a perfect storm of rarity that transforms this particular penny into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. And that's not just speculation, because auction records have shown that authenticated examples with multiple error types from 1994 D have fetched astronomical bids from collectors, hedge fund investors, and museums alike. And the intense competition for such coins means their value continues to increase as demand skyrockets and supply remains nearly non-existent. And what makes this even more thrilling is that the average person still has a chance to find one, as many error coins from the 1990s remain hidden in jars, drawers, and unsearched rolls of coins waiting for someone with the knowledge and patience to uncover them. And with the rise of social media and online marketplaces, new discoveries are being shared instantly with the world, driving public fascination and creating a viral buzz around rare coin hunting, making the story of the $23 million 1994 D penny not just about numismatics but about the broader phenomenon of finding hidden value in plain sight, and the potential for life-changing discovery that lies in something so ordinary and overlooked. And if even one person finds one of these ultra-rare coins and properly authenticates it, their financial future could change overnight, which is why coin grading services and authentication labs are experiencing a surge in submissions, as collectors and newcomers alike race to identify coins with the correct weight, luster, strike, and error diagnostics to match the rare 1994 DS that have achieved legendary status. And as this frenzy grows, so too does the mythos around this coin, creating an ecosystem of information, speculation, investment, and excitement that continues to captivate audiences across the world, because this is more than just a coin, it's a symbol of how something small and seemingly insignificant can hide layers of value, history, and meaning far beyond its surface. And so we urge everyone watching to take a second look at your change, Grab a magnifying glass, weigh your pennies, examine the date and mint marks, and learn the diagnostics of known minting errors, because the next $1 million coin could be sitting right in front of you, just waiting to be recognized. And as always, if you enjoyed this thrilling deep dive into the world of rare and valuable error coins, especially the unbelievable story of the 1994 D penny worth $23 million, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us on our next journey into the astonishing world of hidden coin treasures that could change your life forever.